maybe not. Join us now. Hey guys, I'm about to go live with the Emerge team, Catherine and Rochelle, on our YouTube page. Just search for Ready to Emerge. It's about to be awesome.
Oh my God, I can't post that. You see all my things. Hi.
Oh. Hey guys, I'm about to go live with the Emerge team, Catherine and Rochelle.
All right, I'm going to put myself on mute for a minute so I can post this thing on our page.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I'm having a bit of connectivity issues.
I'm excited about tonight. Sancia messaged me and said, "Why do you look like she's in a studio?" I said, "Because that's how she is."
You don't look like you're in a studio.
Her home office that looks like a studio. It's exactly
me?
a studio. Yes.
Oh. Listen, we still need to be showing up online, girls. I'm drinking water tonight, though, okay?
Oh, Lord. Welcome to the early warm, Michelle. I thought we were having early warm this week. I didn't be prepared.
Oh, warming.
No,
so we are live, girls. We are live.
You said that we're going to... We are live.
We are. Yes, we've been live actually for almost 2 minutes.
Okay. So what have you guys been up to?
What's happening? What's happening here?
We are, and people are on because they can see us.
Rochelle, you were saying?
This week. How was the week been? Today's Wednesday. I can't believe the week is almost done.
Today is Wednesday, folks, and
have you seen the new curfew time?
I don't know if anybody else was hoping that there was like a slim chance that we'd be able to go to the beach this weekend.
Not happening. Well,
not
we
happening
can
anymore.
Before 3 o'clock.
That's not gonna work.
At 3 p.m. We can go. The beaches are closed, but you know,
if so I'm gonna exit.
You're breaking up.
Okay, she said she's gonna exit and come back.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was kind of hoping that maybe there was a very slim chance, but clearly not. But that's fine, because guess what, guys? It gives us time to work on things like our journey map, our Ready to Emerge reflection journal, PR Chicks guide, 8 steps to build your personal brand. You have lots of time to do all that awesome self-reflection. So that's one of the great things coming out of what's happening right now. What was that, Kat?
What about the checklist that you did the other day? That was hard.
What checklist?
The personal brand checklist.
Oh, it wasn't hard. It was a nice, easy guide with the things that you need to have.
Right. So maybe it just made me feel inadequate because I didn't have all the things. I don't know.
I'm sure you were able to tick off some of the things on the checklist.
I didn't finish it. I'll go back to it.
Fine. The race is not for the swift. We have a marathon right now, so we're fine. Rush, are you good with us now?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, we hear you really clearly now.
Yeah, a lot of people are online at this time, so you know that we're having a little bit of connectivity issues, but I don't know nothing. We just cut and go through.
Yeah.
So, girl,
your background looks lovely, Rochelle.
I wonder why.
Because you know what happened? I'm always a fast with people background. So when I'm on them live, watch me now. I wonder where them there. So I said, you know what? Because you're fast with people background, the least you can do is fix up yours. So
this morning, that's
doing a Zoom call. So she calls me for me to check her background and then watch her now how I look.
Anyway, what are we talking about today? I'm very excited about tonight.
Yes. So we're continuing with our Detour essentials tonight, and we have two persons from NCB, but not ordinary people.
No.
These are two amazing speakers. Sancia has actually been at Emerge already. Sancia knows she's one of my favorite people. I follow her travels, and we're just going to have a conversation with them tonight because we're going to be talking a little bit about how we manage our money during COVID. It's 3 weeks in, and the reality of this time is really setting in. We have a curfew over the Easter weekend. And after that, the curfew continues, I think, to the 21st or the 24th of April. So we know that we are under this curfew for quite some time to come. We will have some additional monies because we're not driving out the gas. I have not driven my car since Sunday when I drove it to go to the supermarket. And I had on my mask. I did feel full though. And the mask did hot. But we didn't keep it hot.
Okay, so we have some first timers online, and we assume every time that we come online that people know who we are, and so we need to introduce ourselves as well as our guests.
So since you said that, why don't you start, darling?
Yeah, I would just assume that you would start, Catherine.
I'm Catherine. I am one of the founders of the Emerge team, and welcome.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm Naomi Garrick. I'm also known as the PR Chick. I'm a personal branding coach and the founder of Garrick Communications. And of course, one of the founding members of Emerge with Catherine and Rochelle. Rush?
You
have to do that first. I'm Rochelle Cameron, Adrenaline Rush, also one of the founders of Emerge, and really happy to have our newcomers online and our regulars online. So welcome everybody. Can we properly introduce so we can warm people up to who we have? I spoke about Sancia a while ago. I know we also have Robert on the line.
Yes, Robert Phillip is his name. He's from NCB Capital Markets. And when so we haven't met Robert yet. Tonight is our first time engaging with Robert. So I called Lamar Harris, who's also a part of our Emerge family, to ask her about Robert. And she said, oh my gosh, he's amazing. That was the first thing that she said. And then she said, he knows everything about every single stock market. And did I say that he's just absolutely a wonderful human being? That was her description of Robert. So we're all very excited to have Robert with us tonight as well.
Awesome. Yeah, tonight is all about money moves, right? Because we still need to be making some money, all that's happening right now. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hello, good night.
Thank you for taking the time to spend an hour with us, or at least half an hour with us this evening.
Yes, looking forward to it. I'm sure we're going to get answer some deep-rooted questions. It's COVID, so a lot of markets have shifted. A lot of positions have changed significantly. So we're here to help guide our viewers.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me, guys.
And just so that you know, they are online. I'm seeing here who is waiting impatiently for Sancia. Robert is the best. So
well, that is true.
So we are going to have some great engagement tonight. Let me start because I have a question. Sancia, you know that I followed your travels recently on a daily basis and liked all your questions.
Yes, I know you did. I hope you had a really good time as much as I did.
And one of the things that over this time I have recognized is there are lots of places that I've been planning to travel to. I know Naomi had a wonderful vacation planned for Italy, and she can't go to Italy, of course, for another long time. But the plans that you have for travel at this time, if I had some money put down towards a major trip, should I keep it where it was or should I move it into something? Because I know I won't be able to travel anywhere exotic in any short time. So I would have had it in just like a regular savings account that I was just adding to. What do I do with it now? Should I move it to somewhere else for the time being?
Well, Rosh, I'd want to tell you that we too have some exotic places in Jamaica. We do have sandals doing some really wonderful things. But if it was a case where you had all intentions of going on a plane and going to another continent, I would think that you would have had your investment in something that is pretty much short term. So there are a lot of uncertainties currently in the market. Does it mean that you will never travel again? Not necessarily. It just means that for the next 6 to 8 months, you may not be able to have those travel plans. So you may, if you had intentionally had to say 2 weeks to travel, probably you can leave those days, carry it forward as based on what your company allows, and have a longer term probably next year. So what do you do with the investment? You continue to invest. I would recommend that you move it out of whatever short-term investment that you have it on, which chances are isn't giving you the level of return that you want, and invest it in something else. And there are several other asset classes that we can mention. Of course, there are unit trusts, there is stocks, there are repurchase agreements, there are bonds. There are several options that you may want to consider.
Okay. So I should really
That's a great point.
something a little bit more long term from where it currently is, because it's really very short term where it is.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So you're pretty much saying, don't let that money just sit down there, not doing its job and working to make more money for you.
We're making money moves, so the money moves. So we're making money moves in 2020 when we have not forgotten about that goal. That goal still exists, right? So because that goal still exists, not because the situations have changed, it means that you're going to sit back and relax. There's a saying that I always have, that when you write your goals, you write them in pencil because you want to be able to erase and adjust as the situation changes, so you can make those changes. This is one such change that you would want to make. I'm not able to travel right now. I probably would have planned to travel in the summer. I'm not able to travel in the summer. Hey, if I was going to do 2 weeks, let me do 3 weeks next year summer, and let me look at how it is that I can invest those funds over the next year.
Okay. Robert, in terms of, we have a lot of people that have lost their jobs altogether, or they have had a reduction in their salaries. I've heard of people having 50% reduction. I've heard as much as 75% reduction in salary. Now, in a situation like that, how do you rejig your budget in this time and in the going forward?
Right. So you'd look at the essentials, right? If you have a subscription like say Netflix, I mean you'd want to stay home and watch movies while you're at home, but look at your subscriptions that are non-essential. So cancel those subscriptions. If you normally drink a lot of coffee, or buy coffee out on the road, you're going to try and reduce that. So you look at the things that you don't necessarily need, and get rid of the wants, and think about how you're going to navigate the next 3 to 6 months in a way to find a new job if you have lost your job, or if your pay has been cut. Proper budgeting, and also if you have some extra cash, do some investing as well.
Okay, let me ask you a question, just based on what you just said about the investing, right? So let's say I lost my job, or my job has been cut by 50%. And I'm cutting out the non-essentials. I'm still trying to figure life out. But I do actually have some investments or some stocks. Would you recommend dipping into those investments and taking out some to help with this situation I'm in now? Or do you leave the investments and find another way to try and make up for the loss that's happening right now?
Well, definitely. If you can find another way to fund your expenses, I would say find the other option. Troubling your investments are always the last resort. Especially in a time when the markets are down. We've seen the market come off almost 30% year to date. Depending on where you entered the market, you would have been, unrealized loss position, or you're still probably in some gains, because you would have probably bought some at IPO prices, and the stocks haven't got back to that price just yet. So if the option is there where you can find other means to fund your expenses, then I'd say do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I have a question.
Because the markets will recover. Historically, we've seen where when we have instances of instability, a recession per se, within a couple months, a couple years, the markets do recover. Your investment horizon should be, more than just the next 30 days. It should be 6 months to a year and beyond. So don't think of what's happening in the market as predominantly something that you should start to worry about. Your investment horizon is longer than when COVID is over. So don't think about it like that.
Yeah, because the thing is, a lot of people were excited over the last couple of months, as you said, with all the IPOs, and everybody's using Go IPO, and it's so much easier to invest on the stock market. So there was a lot of
Right.
excitement around that. So I'm sure people are curious. Okay, I did this when this was exciting for me. No, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that was a good answer. Just saying that the touching our investments should really be the last resort.
Well, some
Correct.
actually just said with the stocks, you can actually borrow against your portfolio that can help to offset some of your expenses. Would you recommend that people do that?
Right. NCB Cap Markets offers something like that, right, Sancia?
Yeah,
We
but
do.
that you
Yeah.
can borrow against.
Yes, we do. You can use your investments without, and of course, it depends on the type of investment that you have. The rates currently, which falls under how we have put in a COVID-19 response package for our customers, is that the rate starts at low at 6% currently. So we have lowered those fees, as well as the commitment fee, which we have now reduced to 1%. So we have also looked at how it is that we can make it easier for our customers to be able to access the resources to do whatever that is necessary. So if it's a case where you have an investment and you want to purchase more assets, then that option is available to you.
Should
If
people
you wanted to use your investments as well to do other things, which is not necessarily to purchase other investment assets, that option is also available to you.
Okay.
should people be using credit cards now?
Didn't hear that?
Should people be using credit cards now?
Touchy question. Credit cards. Usually when I do presentations, I love to ask persons, do you know, two questions I usually ask. One, do you know when your credit card is due? Do you, or if due, or when the statement date for that credit card? And two, do you know the interest rate on your credit card? Two very important factors. Oftentimes persons don't know. The chances are no one but not the other. When we look at credit cards and the interest rate, the rates are double digits. They're oftentimes in the 40s. I've seen high 40s as well. So when you're using your credit card, you must be able to foresee how it is that you're going to make that payment. Because the truth is that once you spend it, you must have a plan in place as how it is you're going to clear it. Is it that you're going to clear it before the statement date, where that interest will not be applied to you? Or is it that, hey, it's really a hard month this month, and as such, I'm going to make an extra payment, and in 2 months' time, I can make that, pay off everything. But you must have a plan whenever you swipe that card. I understand how difficult it may be for a lot of us. So, I mean, we're living in the real world. there are times that you're going to pull that card. But at the time that you choose to pull that card, make sure that you have given thought to all the other options that are there. Is it that this spend is really important? Is it a need or is it a want? And Robbie would have mentioned that before. You need to evaluate your spending. And this goes back to us talking about budgeting. And I mean, in sessions before, we would have spoken about the importance of budgeting and having a plan in place and ensuring that everybody in your family understands and participates in that as well. So when you take out the card, make sure you already have a plan as to how it is you're going to cover what is going to be spent.
You know what I ended up doing with some of my vacation money? I think I had told the girls a couple of days ago. I actually used some of that Italy trip money to pay off my credit cards.
That's not a bad one because, again, you would have given consideration to the fact that this trip will not happen this year. And as such, I can use this to pay down a debt that is very high.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a good going.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
What's a unit trust, Robert?
Sorry?
What's a unit trust?
Unit trust?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a unit trust is a pool of investors that come together, and it consists of a fund manager that manages the fund on the behalf of those clients. So, 5 of us here are on this panel. We all give the fund manager our monies, and the fund manager then invests it on our behalf in assets, with the intention that the asset value will climb in the future.
Okay. Is that a short term or a long term investment?
It can be short, it can be long. There are different types. There are, at NCB Capital Markets, we have an equity fund that can be considered short. You have bond funds, you have money market funds. So, it depends on the type of fund and the expectation for the market at the time. So while stocks were doing very well last year, if you had bought an equity fund earlier in 2019, by the end of 2019, the value of that fund would have increased significantly. Mm-hmm. So the best option right now would not be an equity fund. It would be a bond fund or a money market fund that would be more stable within the next couple of months.
Okay. So I know, I must go ahead, Rosh?
Yeah, go ahead, Nine.
Okay. So I know that the focus of this session in particular, because we got a lot of questions about that, was really about the stock market. Like, what do we do right now? Should we be buying? Should we be selling? And one of the things I saw on Twitter today was the fact that for some people, having stocks is a great thing because, for example, Cygnus just paid out $1 million in dividends on the 6th of April. And I could see people tweeting at the fact that I was so happy to see this money in my account and now this can go towards my rent or, just this additional cash that I did not have before. So I can see that there are a lot of still, even in this time, investing in the stock market. So I'd love you guys to just speak more about that or your thoughts on that right
Sure.
now.
So, when investing, there's no broad brush approach for investing. You decide on, so each investor, decides on what their outlook is. If you're on the younger side, you can take a little bit of risk. If you're on the older side, risk is not what you want. You may look for dividend paying stocks, and that's what you just mentioned. So you look for those stocks that pay.
What is the older side? Which group is the older side?
Definitely not you. I wasn't referring to you at all.
Not you.
I think it's more me.
I noticed, the age brackets, like at what age is that dividend payment that you're looking at? Is that like over 60? Is that like 40 and over, 45 and over? What age group is that?
Robbie, don't fall in Russia's trap, please.
Yeah.
Somewhere in retirement, someplace in retirement.
Okay.
Right. So, you'd want to look for strong dividend paying stocks. You look at your Scotia, your NCB, you mentioned Cygnus, your Carreras. These companies consistently pay dividends, and their dividend yield, which is just the percentage of dividends they pay over the period, is pretty much consistent. So you'd want to look at those companies that will give you cash flow every quarter, every 6 months, or yearly, if so be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So in terms, I was just go on the whole point of budgeting. Are there any tips? Sancia mentioned having that conversation with the family, which I think is a very interesting point. Should you be having that conversation with the kids about this time and about changes that we need to make in our way of life? And in reviewing your budget, are there any budgeting tips that you could give us at this time?
Yes, every single person who depends on you needs to be a part of that meeting. It's a family meeting. Everyone needs to understand that things as we know it, or as we knew how it was then, no longer exists. It's a new day for all of us. And as such, you need to let everyone, especially the kids, you have a candid discussion with them. I mean, oftentimes, we try to shelter our kids to say, oh, they wouldn't understand. No, they can understand. It's just how it is that we deliver the information to them. So have the discussion with the kids, let them know that we have to be frugal in how we're spending. So the discretionary spending that we used to have, we need to now limit it to what is really important, what is going to adequately allow us to live day by day. So you review that, you sit and you have a discussion. When you're going to spend, you need to have a list. Do not go into the stores without a list, because, and I curse every time I go into Price Mart. Price Mart changes the location of their products every 6 weeks. So if I'm accustomed
So you have to walk up and down.
Yes, and it's a deliberate tactic of theirs to get you to purchase more. So don't fall in the trick. Don't fall for it. You need to ensure that you have the list, stick to the list, and as soon as you pick it up, you tick off and you move along. So the list is very important. Yeah. And I'm happy that the PM mentioned it this afternoon as well. When you're going into the market, stick to the list and get out of there quickly. Yeah. And look at ways that you look at alternatives as well. Oftentimes we think that a certain brand, that's the only brand that we can purchase because yes, the quality and whatever else. But the truth is that with innovation, companies have been able to identify good alternatives, so which is less expensive. So sometimes we're just buying into the name of a brand. Yes, quality too. But there are alternatives that we can consider. What else for budgeting? Probably. I mean, I said it to my son that I think I'm going to start trimming your hair, and he's like, "Oh my mom, don't do that."
His hair has grown out and his beard has grown out. He refuses.
I had a meeting with my 6-month-old, and I was like, "Dude, the end family is costing us." You might have some laugh.
I don't blame him. I like his strategy of laughing, but he knows that mommy is going to continue to buy.
Right. Yeah. Rochelle, comment in one of our conversations, and even earlier today, she said that she hasn't left her house since whenever. A lot of us are conserving on gas right now, right? And I think we don't realize how much money we spend on gas a month. And so what do we do with that money? Because it's money that we used to spend that we're not spending now. Do we save it? Do we put it towards
even the buying lunch, Catherine, even things like buying lunch every day on the road. A lot of people aren't doing that right now. What should they be doing with that kind of money?
So the truth is, a lot of other expenses are going to go up.
Food.
JPS is going to send you a bill that is extremely higher. Yes, girl, I'm talking words. Extremely higher than what you would have gotten a month ago. Facts.
You know, I forgot about the JPS bill.
Yes. So earlier Naomi said, "Oh, in here hot and it's Naomi or Rochelle. I need to turn on the AC." Rush, I hope you are prepared for that bill. So the truth is, I wouldn't want to tell you necessarily that you need to invest those funds. Investment is an option, but at the same point in time, you're spending more time at home. You're watching probably more television. You are turning on the fan a little bit more than usual. You're opening the fridge door and then looking in the fridge trying to decide what you're going to have. So things have changed, yes, but be prepared to see the ramifications of those changes in those bills.
Redistribution of
We're saying don't
expenses.
spend off that money then. Just hold it.
Yeah,
No,
I think
no,
Robert was
don't
thinking
spend it.
about that redistribution of the money.
Yeah. I have two questions.
Oh, wait, Robert was making a point though. Robert, we can't see you good, you know. Oh, your pictures are squeezed up.
I'm using my phone, guys. Apologies. It's not loading on my computer.
You can kill lizard. You still look handsome. Good. You're talking about the redistribution of the funds.
Right. So, Sancia was making the point, and I was just adding that it's just a redistribution of expenses. You don't drive as much, but you pay more electricity, more in your water bill, more, in every other sense. So it's just a redistribution.
Yeah.
So two questions. The first question from Calvin is that with the realities that we have right now, should they still be expecting the dividend payments that they're used to from the companies that normally pay those dividends?
So there may be some adjustments. I mean, it's really hard to tell. What we will see at a lot of companies had end of quarter for March. You would see not a lot of changes for those companies that had an end of quarter. However, in coming quarters, you may see some adjustments in dividend payments because revenue will be impacted. So you may see an adjustment. Again, it's really hard to say, what the effect is. Companies, the larger companies with large capital bases are well structured to withstand these kind of economic shocks. So they may be able to pay similar amount of dividend. So it's really hard to say though.
Okay. Second question is from Chris. Sidebar. Robert, you have an admirer on the line that says you're very handsome.
Thank you.
Who that you're talking about since you don't recognize our movement. So we have another question from Chris, and he says, "What advice would you give to a young investor just leaving or starting university and may not have a lot to throw into the market, but is very much intrigued by the topic of financial literacy and growth?"
Right. So one of the things that I always say to persons who are new to the market, and I have this conversation quite often, is right. So first, let me say, new investors think that you need to have a lot of money to invest. And that's just a myth. That's not how it is. You need to start with whatever you have. A lot of companies do have minimums to open account. So you would have to be guided by that. But as a new investor, we are willing to have that conversation with you. In terms of looking at where you're headed and how we can accommodate that. But if you have $1,000 to start investing, let's have a talk. Let's find out what your plan is. Do you plan to add $1,000 every week or every month to get to the place that you want to be? So don't think that the little that you have cannot add up in the long run. So let's have a talk and we'll get you to the place that you want to be.
I'd like to add to that as well, because oftentimes people, as Robert says, think that they must have a lot of funds to invest, and we have not gotten to the point where we truly understand the difference from having a savings account versus an investment account. Let us look, for example, at the stock market over the past year. When Wigton came to the market, you needed just $1,000. It was, Robbie? To purchase the minimum number of shares. Is it that's the case? And we saw a lot of persons coming in and purchasing the minimum. The important thing is that you get started, and once you have started, you be consistent. The consistency is very important. So starting is one. Getting rid of that myth that you must have a lot of phones. Whatever you have, you need to start and be consistent about it.
I have another question. When with the pandemic and the unplanned expenses, if one does not want to sell their stocks or touch their investments, should one apply for a low interest rate loan to help them get through the time? So I think the person might have missed earlier when you talked about the rates that you have now and the loans that NCB has available.
Yeah, but Catherine, just to add to that, in terms of, because the various banks have put forward their COVID relief packages, in terms of what NCB is offering, what kind of conversation can someone come in to have with you at this time about their mortgage or their credit card? What kind of conversation can we come in and have with you now?
Okay, so we, as part of the COVID-19 plan, we have waived the penalty interest on loan payments, late loan payments. We have also put in place payment holidays. So payment holidays are in place for your credit card, your unsecured loan, your auto loan, your mortgages. All you would have to do is to email us, and you send us that email at ncbcovidassist@jncb.com. So it's ncbcovidassist@jncb.com.
So if you send an email to this, so for instance, suppose I had a mortgage that I have lost my job, or my salary has been cut to 25% of its normal state. I could email. So when I send this email, is it that a conversation happens after?
Yes. So you
after.
Okay, so you send the email to us to let us know what your situation is. Let us know your account details, of course. Then we will, of course, have those discussions with you to see what it is that we can work out for your specific circumstance.
Okay.
At the point where we're at the end of those discussions, then of course we will communicate what it is that we will be offering.
Okay. So it's an individual by individual, a case by case kind of arrangement.
Correct.
Okay.
So after we go through the process and we try to conserve where we can, we discuss with our bank what the options are, and we still feel like we need to have some kind of liquidity. Do we then take out a low interest loan? Are banks even giving loans? If I can't pay the rest of my bills, why would I be borrowing more money, or why would the bank give me more money?
So yes, you can take a loan. Of course, you must assess your situation. If you come to NCB Capital Markets and you have a portfolio with us, then you can use that portfolio as the underlying security, and you take a loan. As I said, these loans can be used. There are two options. You can use the loans to purchase other assets, or you can use the loans to do whatever else that you may have. So yes, it is an option. We're not saying that this is the option that everyone needs to go with and say, hey, I need to take a loan. But we would much prefer to have a discussion with the client to have a clear understanding as to what it is you're going through, so we can make the right recommendation. As I've always said to my team, I consider my team to be a team of financial doctors. The same way when you're going to a medical doctor, you're going to have a candid discussion about where it's hurting you. And you probably diagnose yourself already using WebMD. But when you're coming to us, you must be prepared to really have a candid discussion about your financial situation, so we can give you the very best advice.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have though is, we're talking about all of the various things. And I know we have some questions online, but just to add into the mix, notwithstanding COVID, are there any opportunities that we could capitalize on during this time, or is it just doom and gloom? Are there any opportunities? Should we be looking out for stock prices that have gone lower that we could probably buy those stocks? What opportunities are there?
All right. So again, always try to say there is no broad brush approach as to how you approach investing. It depends on your position financially. However, we've seen the stock market drop almost 20 plus percent. But since April, the stock market is actually up slightly. So, you had a few stocks that had fallen off, and they're seeing gains now within a couple of days. We're not out of the COVID situation, as we all know. So more volatility is expected in the near term. However, there are those particular stocks that will be resilient throughout COVID. Your discretionary items, people are still shopping at the supermarket, people are still going to pharmacies, people are, especially now, are doing so. I just mentioned one in particular. So Mailpack has been and is delivering for Price Mart, for all who doesn't know that. So those kind of companies are they're going to be resilient in some way, and those are the companies that you need to look at. Again, for your situation as an investor, you need to speak to a licensed, wealth advisor, or before a decision is made.
Okay.
People are asking about debt consolidation. Would you recommend it, and are there options for debt consolidation?
It goes back to the point I would have made earlier about assessing your situation. If you have loans, then you can rank your loans based on the value that is outstanding as well as the interest rate. Because sometimes when you do debt consolidation, you realize that there may be savings in there for you, and as such, that may serve you very well. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh yes, if you have some loans, you need to look at debt consolidation. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's based on the loans, the value of the loans that you have outstanding, and the interest rates on these loans.
Okay. And the interest rate that you dictated now too.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
We're also getting a bit of a complaint. One of our viewers says that she applied from early March, but she hasn't gotten any response as yet. What kind of response time can your customers expect in regard to the COVID relief packages?
All right, so we have been getting a lot of emails. It's going to take us some time to actually be combing through our inbox and making contacts with clients accordingly. But just please bear with us. We understand your situation. Continue to make your minimum payments at least until we have gotten to you. If you take her contact details, Rochelle, then I can reach out to her tomorrow to see how best I'm able to assist.
Okay.
I have a question for Robert.
Yeah. Sorry, over to you, Kat. Sorry.
Robert, somebody wants to know, would taking an NCB Capital Markets loan be the same as leveraging? And for those
you can
know what leveraging is, maybe you should tell us what that is first.
So we discussed it before. Mm-hmm. You can borrow against your stocks, okay. And that will give you the option to either buy more stocks or do any other type of investment. So definitely we do offer that service. Mm-hmm. And yes, it is a form of leverage.
So Calvin Hunter has a question. He says, with the expected community spread of the virus in Jamaica in the coming weeks, coupled with the increased number of cases and possible deaths, is there an expectation that much more persons will panic and try to sell stocks? Will this then mean that persons looking for opportunities may see better buys in the next few weeks?
That is very likely and possible. We get updates from the government daily. We don't know what next week will be like. So it's very possible that things will get worse, and in an effort to get cash, people would start to panic. And that's why we're in this situation now where the market fell off that much. So it is very likely that people will panic and stocks will fall further. But we're trying to see as best as possible. don't panic. If you have investment horizon that is longer than the end of this year, you more than likely will be okay. If you have need for cash, you can try the different methods to borrow against what you have. Or if you really don't have an option, then you just may need to sell. But what we're trying to say is don't panic.
So, for
truth
example,
is, guys,
in my personal case, I had applied for the proven APO, successfully applied, and then of course, what I'm thinking of doing, I've always wanted to have some of those, excellent stocks like NCB, which maybe I couldn't really afford before. So I'm now thinking of using that money that would have gone to my proven APO to go to NCB right now while the stocks are at a more affordable rate.
Yeah.
Would you recommend something like that, or should I still leave my proven APO money aside and wait until that is up and running again?
So for the proven APO, when things settle down, more than likely will come back. If you really want to get some of proven, you have two options. The proven APO price, I think, was 28 cents US, and the stock price is pretty much in that region now. So you don't necessarily have to
You
buy
need to wait on
the
the APO.
APO. Right, you don't necessarily have to, but if you want to go the route of getting the APO, then fine. Obviously, I'm going to say buy some of NCB, but I cannot recommend that you buy NCB as an
Right,
employee of
of course you
NCB.
cannot.
Right. So
I get dividends and I recommend you buy NCB.
right. So definitely you can split the monies two ways. And buy some of NCB.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I'm a person that it's very hard for me to save without just taking the money out first. I have a lot of insurance policies because that's how that's the easiest way for me to save, right? So just get rid of it and not save outside of my investments. And one of the things that I did not realize is that I actually, because some of my insurance policies also had an investment arm, I had gains on those policies and I could actually take it now at a time when I actually need it. And the question is now, when I get that money, depending on how much it is, do I hold on to it and have the liquidity and wait until later, or do I try to take some of it now and invest in places that I know have a long-term return?
Right. You can take that option and invest for the long term, as I said. I don't want to be a recorder, but the markets are going to recover eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a medium to long term objective, then no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy, Kathy, that you did not say that you wanted to close your policies, and I'm really, really happy that you didn't say that. I saw a news article today that said for the past 17 years, Wimbledon spent what, 2 million US on insurance. 17 years.
Yep.
That is 34 million US dollars over that 17 years. But guess what? It is cancelled. It will not happen. They are going to get a payout of 141 million US dollars.
Yep.
What does that say about insurance?
Yeah.
Insurance is there to protect us for the eventualities. We do not know when it will happen, if it will happen, but it is there to protect us. So I'm happy that you didn't say that you are going to be closing your policies. And I want our viewers to understand insurance is a very important part of your financial portfolio.
Absolutely.
Correct.
I mean, I look at even the critical illness plans because I went over all of my policies again, and I was like, I looked at my critical illness, and I was like, I think I need to put more money on this critical illness and increase it just in case. The other thing I wanted to ask about is what about pension? Because I know that some people, especially for people that have personal pension, they can't. Are they able to access it now, or they can't touch it until retirement still?
Unable to touch it until retirement.
Yeah. But on that point of pension, because there are some pension arrangements that people may be in a situation now that, for example, they have lost their job, but they were vested in their pension plan, and you get that pension layout that tells you what the lump sum payment would be, and if you stay as a deferred pensioner. Now, when somebody has lost their job in COVID and they get that sheet that tells you what your payout could possibly be for the pension, there's a say, give me that money because I'm going to need that money now. What would you advise our viewers now of how you deal with your pension, and if you have any ability to access your pension, should you be trying to get that lump sum, or are you better served keeping that pension for actual retirement, because COVID too shall pass?
COVID too shall pass, and what you will find is that the temptation is real. Your mind is going to tell you that I can invest this money way better than the pension fund managers ever did. Mm-hmm. So I would not recommend that you take the portion, your voluntary portion that's available to you. But let us wait. If it's the case where you're going to take it and start a business, for example, it will give you that push start, and you know at the bottom of your heart you had this idea for the past 10 years, you already have a business plan in place, and you just need a small amount to help you get going, then it may be something you want to look into. But the intention is that as soon as you are now an entrepreneur and that business is in place, you want to ensure that you continue to add to your pension. The truth is, whatever we contribute right now towards retirement is not adequate. It is not adequate. So even with the current arrangement where you can contribute up to 20%, it is just not adequate for the lives that we want to live in the future.
Mm-hmm. Moy, who lives in New York, I don't know if we have disability insurance here.
I'm not aware. We're not the insurance experts.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, but the question she's asking about is she's actually debating if she should go for the lower value of the policy. You know, when you have like investment policies, sometimes you can actually tweak it to go for the lower value. Is this a time to go for the lower value, or if we're still able to maintain things as they are, do we keep things as they are for as long?
If you're able to, one of the things that I recommend, and I do it annually, is that I have a sit down every December, and I sit with a financial advisor. As much as I think I know a lot, I sit with a financial advisor where we review what is it that I'm doing on the investment side of things. And of course, they usually give into whatever I see on the investment side. But as it relates to my insurance, your situation changes. And the truth is, the older you get, is the more expensive it is to acquire insurance. So the younger you are, we usually recommend that you go and get all the insurance. Like to date, I still have an insurance policy that I pay $973.33 every month. My best policy yet. I have others that I'm paying thousands of dollars. If only I knew then what I know now. But the truth is that you sit and you have a discussion, review your policies, your situation changes. So if it's a case whereas you got a promotion, you're earning some more monies, insurance should cover that as well. You need to make that adjustment in your insurance as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that Robert, when Catherine was just mentioning going through, like different insurance policies that she has, and in fact, when she mentioned it, I started going through, like sometimes you're not aware of the different policies you have, and You have one money put on, one little money put on here, and one little money put on there. So when I actually did that, I realized that like I had, you know, like old people that will put money under them mattress. It's like I did have someone put money put on a different mattress.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking at it, I'm saying that I think I need to do some kind of some consolidation. It's like I just have these monies put aside, but I'm not necessarily getting the best return for some of them. And some of them are not a lot of money, but if I did put it somewhere else, maybe it would have grown a little bit more. At this time where we have a little time on our hands to really look at our portfolio. And I think sometimes when we think of the portfolio, we think it's this big portfolio, but sometimes we have some little money put on in our one credit union, some little money that we did invest when we did just start work and we forgot about it. What should we be doing now? Should we be looking at all of these funds and seeing where we can reinvest them? Should we have some doing actions with these or just leave them as is?
You're absolutely right. You should be looking at it and making a decision based on, you know, what rate are you getting at those institutions. You know, if you're getting something below inflation, then, you know, you've already lost the game. So you need to start looking at, you know, your unit trust products, which are more stable, your bond investments, which, you know, give you a greater return, or your equity investments, which is more risky, but, you know, the return is even greater. So definitely do a review, see what rates you're getting, and, you know, select one that ensures that you're always beating the inflation rate.
So there are some opportunities now to actually stop and look at where some of your monies are and if you truly are earning the best rates for them. So we should be utilizing this time wisely to really look at where we have monies and how we can do better with them. Okay.
That's correct.
One more question. Chris wants to know, with the biggest earthquake that we have predicted to come or in this region, if we do get...
I'm not hearing you so clearly. Connection is a little poor.
Okay. Is it better?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay. Chris wants to know, with hurricane season approaching, and we have about 7 right now that are in our vicinity, if a hurricane hits Jamaica, would the capital markets be affected, or the money market be affected?
It definitely would. We have been very lucky in past hurricane seasons, and, you know, we are praying that this one is just the same. Because, you know, we have a pandemic now. The government is doing its best by giving financial support to the financial institutions, to the regular man on the street, people who lost their job. They're trying their best to do that. So if we do have an hurricane, you know, things are going to be impacted. You know, growth has significantly been reduced in the last quarter, and we expect growth to be probably the negative for the next quarters. If we have a hurricane, that definitely will impact what's happening. But at the end of the day, you know, we're thinking long term, right? We're not thinking just what's going to happen in the hurricane season. We're thinking way beyond that. So things are going to be affected, but, you know, the business will continue to go on. NCB Capital Markets is going to fill your equity orders, your bond orders nonetheless, and we'll help you along the way to try to make some money.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow, this has been like so much information, but I think useful, really necessary information. You know, and I mean, we talked about budgeting and managing our money and being more intentional about how we spend our money. So canceling the subscriptions that we need to cancel. I mean, even us, we literally last week went through and looked at all of the subscriptions that we have. I mean, last year, Naomi and I subscribed to everything livingly possible. And things that I didn't even remember I had subscriptions too. And so I started canceling last week. You know, conserving on our spend. You know, when we used to go to the office every day, we used to stop and grab coffee. Naomi went to Starbucks this week and she was like, oh my gosh, this was a treat for me. Because
I forgot what it was like to have somebody make coffee for me.
Yeah.
you know, a lot of us are cooking more, so we're spending more time in the grocery store and less time eating out. Get rid of the wants and focus on the needs. So focus on the budgeting. Think about our investments in a way, from the 6 months and beyond, right? Don't think about short term. Think about medium to long term. For the people that were asking about the loans, NCB now has 6% interest rate for loans and a 1% commitment fee, right? That is for the margin, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to be using our credit cards, there are two things that we need to be very mindful of: the statement date for the credit card and the interest rate for the credit card. Have a plan to pay it off before you decide to use it.
Yep.
Oh no, this I actually started doing last week because, like you, Sancia, when I used to go to the supermarket, I would just buy all kind of foolishness. I actually wrote a list and stuck to my list this week, so it works. It really helps you to conserve spend, and it's the stupid little things that you pick up that probably cost more than the necessities. Talk to your family, engage them in every decision that is being made about the household. So you think you need to be inclusive of the children because it impacts them just as much. Look at alternative brands. A lot of us are used to the brands that we grew up with, and we think that they're better quality, but there are high quality products or comparable quality products that cost less money. So we need to be more mindful when we're buying. And this is actually something I spoke about in my webinar today: consistency. Consistency is very important in every decision that we make, right? So in our saving, and this was in relation to the university student that asked, how do I get started on the stock market? It's about your investment and your savings consistently. So if you're saving X amount of money every month, if you're investing X amount of money every month, if you're, be consistent in it. The email address to send your queries regarding your NCB loans is NCB, and I'm going to type it in the chat. NCB COVID assist@jncb.com. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Catherine, you took really awesome notes.
You really did.
Yeah.
I think I'd want to add, if persons are currently unemployed, what they may need to do, sharpen your skills. There are some websites out there that gives you free courses. There's Coursera, there's Udemy that you can use. I use them as well. That you can
I'm doing a
use.
course right now on Google Garage on digital marketing.
Okay, so there are for free, right? So there are several options out there. So if you're unemployed, it's not a case whereas you must stay in that situation. We want you to continue to learn, to elevate. You could look at starting your blog. You could look at being a freelancer. You could also look at finding jobs online. There's a website called Fiverr that allows persons to do surveys, and they pay you for doing these surveys. I think it's Fiverr.
Oh, yes. Fiverr, you can do lots of stuff: graphic design, animation, voiceovers, you name it, they have it on Fiverr.
Oh, right. Fiverr.
I think it's 2 R's. It's 2 R's, Kathy?
It's either 2 E's or 2 V's or 2 R's. It's 2 something in there.
Something, yes.
I can tell you.
Wow,
I'm subscribed to them, so I use their services all the time.
Yep, and somebody
it's 2 R's.
Fiverr.
It's 2 R's.
And somebody recommended Upwork as well for a freelance website.
Awesome. Yeah, man. There's lots of opportunity. We just need to be willing and ready to look for them. Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much, Sancia and Robert, for joining us. We are so grateful. This was a very, very useful conversation. I think just based on the overflow of questions, that people were needed to hear it.
Yeah.
We need the guidance, and trust me, I learned a lot. So these notes were not just for us; it was for me too.
And guys, you can remember, if you want more information like this from NCB Capital Markets, you can follow them on social media. They have a very active and engaging Instagram platform where they share really easy to understand tips about investing, the stock market, using Go IPO. And of course, you can always just ask them questions as well in the DMs.
Yeah.
Yes, and the handle is NCB Cap Markets.
Yeah.
Yes, at NCB Cap Markets.
That's right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Robert. And if we have any additional
me.
questions from our audience after, we'll definitely send them to you.
Yeah,
sure. I want to leave one thing with everybody. Within a crisis, there's always an opportunity. So keep your eyes peeled and look out for them. Yeah. Also, keep glued to the NCB Capital Markets Instagram page or on the different platforms. Something big is coming. That's all I can say. Right, Sancia?
That's right. That is right.
Sancia, how is Robert have to give us a hint and stuff? I will from you.
Because I knew you guys were going to expect it from you, so I had to make Robbie do it.
Thank you, Robbie. We will all be tuning into NCB Cap Markets on Instagram to see this big news that is coming and these opportunities that will be available to us.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yeah, and guys, stay online because we're going to be discussing our books for this week. We're going to be discussing the book we mentioned last week, and we have a little activity that we need to do with our emergers.
Oh, that was awesome. Cap Markets.
Khalil, we've been waiting on that JPS IPO a long time.
So guys, one of the things that we were talking about is just kind of dealing with the emotions of COVID. And one of the activities that we wanted to do was to, sometimes you have to kind of release things so that you can embrace the new opportunities and see the light. Is the beautiful full moon out again tonight, or it was last night? Did you see that pink moon?
Last night it was actually a pink moon.
Yeah.
It was almost magical, and it was amazing to see this beautiful moon. So one of the things we're gonna do, guys, all of you that are still online with us, stay with us because we want to talk about 5 things that you're tired of.
tired of doing?
Or tired of, generally.
I'm cleaning, I'm tired of cooking, I'm tired of washing.
That's not bad, Kathy. That's just 3 things. You're good.
I'm tired of being in my house.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
tired of not having structure. I'm trying to make structure in my house, but every time I make a plan, it just goes right out the window. So I'm tired of not having structure. I'm also tired of doing a lot of housework. In addition to homeschooling, in addition to my Garrett communications work, in addition to just life, structure is important for me. What else am I tired of? Not a lot of things, I would really, 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 really love to go to the beach. But maybe in another month or so. But so I mean, I'm tired of things, but I'm also grateful to still be here and to actually say that I'm tired of things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was funny, like last week I had probably 15 things that I was tired of, and they've gotten like smaller and smaller as
more insignificant, right?
More insignificant.
Yeah.
So like I was tired of being in the house, and then I thought, whoa, look at here, you have somewhere that you live. That's kind of cool.
Correct.
Yeah. So managing on the streets, I would have loved to be tired of living in a house. So that really gave me some perspective.
Yeah.
And said me love eat out already.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of home cooked meals.
So the marketing stash says, I'm tired of people's negativity and people's lack of gratitude.
Yeah.
And so this is actually what made us think about what are we tired of, because in thinking about the things that we are tired of, we made us stop to think about the things that we're actually grateful for. And so last week our word was kindness, and this week our word is actually gratitude. For the reason, because a lot of us are frustrated right now. A lot of us are, have a lot of mixed emotions, and we tend to focus on what's not going the way that we want it to, or what we're not accustomed to doing, and we're not focusing on things that we should be grateful for.
Exactly.
Yeah, like as much as like the marketing, I am also equally tired of washing dishes. I literally gave my child a cup and I wrote his name on it and I said, "Listen, child, this is your cup for the rest of the time that we're stuck at home together, like this, okay? I'm not washing any more cups or plates." However, I'm also grateful, anyway, that I have plates and cups and dishes to wash at home and running water. So every time I get like frustrated, I have to think about stuff like that. Like, but you have these things.
Yeah.
You have a home, you have running water, you can actually wash the dishes. But Lord have mercy. It's too much. I can't.
My putting things on him everywhere he goes. But you know what? We should be grateful that we have alcohol and sanitizer to spray. Right?
Catherine, you know, like when you have the wine festivals and they give you like the glass and it's tied around like a lanyard. I feel like that's the next thing I'm going to do with him. I'm going to like punch 2 holes in the side of the cup and then just wear it around his neck. With a plate and a fork attached to it. And these are your things. Take them with you everywhere.
Yeah. One of the things that I think has really hit me this week is I'm very grateful for relationships. I actually realized that I have been going really hard for the last couple of months, and and this whole concept of time has just really changed in my head. And so it's so with my family, like, we have our family Zoom call, and my mother checks in with a video call like 3 times for the day, but it's hilarious and I enjoy it. My brother sends me like these videos and he will say things like, he'll call me and he'll be like, "You busy?" And I'm like, "Shay, I'm on a teleconference." He's like, "I sent you an important message," and it is the most ridiculous video, but hilarious. and just completely messes up my train of thought. But even my church team and my other girlfriends, that we were always making, sometimes you're making these plans for lunch and dinner and who can come, but now all of a sudden we're like looking forward to the weekly Zoom call, like, "Hi guys." And just the ability that even though we're not able to touch each other, that COVID has actually been bringing us together.
Oh yeah. Listen, I have virtual happy hour with my brothers. At any given time of the day. We don't have a set happy hour time. So sometimes one is in Minnesota and one is in California. So we're all on different time zones. And one will be like, "Guys, what we drinking?" And I'm like, "Guys, it's still 10 o'clock here." And they're like, "Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world. So what's you drinking?" So it's just like,
I discovered during COVID that WhatsApp can actually have all of my siblings and me on video chat.
Yeah.
I never knew that before. So we
wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, so on WhatsApp video,
you can
the 4 of us who are on the phone at the same time.
Really?
You can do a WhatsApp group chat. Yeah, like a group video chat.
See, so I learned something during this.
Wait.
Yeah. All 4 of us were on the phone at the same time. My sister bossed me.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So last week, by the way, I want a sidebar. Last week, after we came off the live, these young ladies had me on the broadcast for about another 30 minutes. And they were dancing, they were singing. Naomi said she's going to start doing karaoke on her Instagram. Rochelle said that she's going to start an early warm segment. So stay tuned next week Wednesday for the early warm.
I thought we're gonna have early warms this time, Rochelle. What happened?
I asked.
You know that, like, since I turned 28, sometimes I forget things. You know how it goes.
Rochelle, major
Like, I'm seriously a DJ. Like, I'm good.
Hype right now is doing clashes live on Instagram, and he's looking for people for the clash so he can sign up.
Oh my God, but I'm gonna need an outfit. Do I need an outfit for it?
But you have your skirt and your
And you have fully for outfit right now because you're not anywhere. So
that we noticed, you know, the little things that we start noticing with people. So when I'm hyped up, you know, Jamaican people dance angry, like
yes, Naomi.
So my hype is like, hey. So I'm like, hey. Now it's like, I think I should have been more like giggly, but she's like a rude girl. Like she's like,
It's because of the song that was playing, Rochelle. I don't remember what it
do not tell them which song you're playing. I beg you, do not tell them.
But it's called for like a, you have to have like a more of a serious, like kind of like a
it was get it,
you know?
I told you not to start her. Okay, the book that we spoke about last week, Rochelle, we have A Return to Love. So I actually read it. Rochelle started reading it and Naomi started reading it.
And I just started
I've read it like 5 times before, so I just read it for a 6th time.
Okay. Whatever. So we read that book last week and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So even if you are not a spiritual person, I think that everybody can take the lesson from the book. And what the book speaks about is the fact that every single choice that we make in life is either in love or out of love. And it's so profound. It's so simple yet so profound. And I mean, when you think about the way that we eat, the way that we take care of our body, it's either we're treating our body with love or we're not.
Exactly.
We treat each other is either we're interacting with love or we're not. If we're stealing from people, if we're killing people, if we're being dishonest, it's an act outside of love, because the people that we love, we don't treat that way, right?
Well, show the book again so people can see it.
So I highly recommend it. We highly recommend
the camera.
It's called A Return to Love.
Yes.
By Marianne Williamson. And
Marianne Williamson.
And just to go back to what is my favorite quote, and it is a quote that you may have heard several times, but it is actually from this book, because the book speaks a lot about love starting with yourself, because we are incapable truly of loving others and seeing love and actually moving and walking and being active in love if we don't love each other. And the quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And let me tell you, this has been something that I have maintained always. I always have it pasted up any office I'm in any room that I'm in, because it's a reminder, you know, sometimes how we are raised to small up ourselves. So we have a contracting mentality. So we watch other people, what they're doing, and we're smalling up ourselves and we're grudging them. And every grudge you grudge, you're actually robbing yourself of something. But living abundantly is actually opening ourselves and allowing others to see our own light. Because you know what happens? the people that you look up to, that you use as mentors, that inspire you, they have made themselves open to you. So can you imagine that you are inspiring? You have the ability to inspire others if you're able to just open yourself. So every time we do something amazing, we're saying to other people, it's cool. You can do it too. And that's had such a powerful impact. But we actually sometimes are scared, as my nephew would say, we're scared of just how amazing we are.
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing else you do this week, think abundantly about yourself and think of the different ways that you small up yourself, grudging others, bad mind, talking negative words over yourself. All of those things are diminishing your greatness. And we were meant to be awesome. Like God created us to be awesome. So it's your birthright. It's your heritage. Be awesome.
Be awesome.
What are we talking about next week?
Well, before we go into next week, I don't think I told you guys about this, but I told Keisha, I'm actually doing a special offer, not just to the emergers, but emergers will hear it first. So I don't know if you noticed, but for those that follow me on Instagram, I had posted a list of books that I recommend from books that I've read for personal development. And I realized that some of them I had recommended that you should use Audibles. And as an Audible member, I can actually send the books to people that don't have an Audible account or that have never or have an Audible account but are not a subscriber of Audible for free, like one book. So I'm going to put 3 books up, which we'll post on our Emerge page this week, that if you want me to send you the link to that Audible book for free, you can just send an email to me directly, but we'll put all the details on our page and I'll put the 3 books. But yeah, it was like, whoa, I actually tested it today with Keisha, who's a part of our Emerge team, and it worked fine. And she's actually an Audible user. She just doesn't subscribe. So once you don't have this book already, you just have to download the app and you'll get the book for free.
Yeah.
So
the book is The Richest Man in Babylon. We were just talking about.
I don't have it on Audible though. I have the physical.
I have it on Audible. How I can share?
Oh, I'll show you, Rochelle. That's awesome.
I have it too, so I can share it too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll put a list of maybe 5 books. And once you send us the book that you want, we'll send you the correct link to that book. So I'm definitely gonna share The Alchemist, because that's like my favorite. The Year of Yes, Becoming by Michelle Obama, and Kevin Hart's book, because that's hilarious and they are narrated by the author. So that's just pure hilarity for like 17 hours.
Yeah.
So I will send those.
Alchemist, because I know we're next week we're discussing The Richest Man in Babylon, and as we talked about money this week, it is the best book to start your budgeting arrangements. It is. I mean, it has been life-changing for me. I can tell you that since reading that book a year ago, I have been able to completely shift up my investments and my approach to money. And I had to
it's a small little book. It's very easy to read. You can read it in a day. Easy.
And as an Audible, it actually is a very easy listen as an Audible. Yeah. Now, The Alchemist, I'm very interested in when we discuss that book.
Oh, I love it. I've read it multiple times and I've listened to it multiple times.
And I don't get it. So one of the things that I want us to be able to do is, sometimes when we read and books are mentioned to you, what we want to do is to have the conversation. So not because we think the book is great. If you think like, I don't like this book, we want to have that conversation. So The Alchemist I read because everybody was reading it. I'm going to read it again tonight because I'm like,
what? I'm going to send you. Let me send you the Audible for this book.
I have it. Alchemist.
Is it read by Jeremy Irons, the actor?
Send me that one day.
I'm going to send it to you.
Send it to me too.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, one of the things that we encourage with reading is when you read, And the book I just mentioned is The Alchemist. And I'm not ashamed to say if I read a
By
book.
Paulo Coelho.
You know, understand a book, me not ashamed to say, me not get it, or me not agree with it. And I want us to get to that place that we read with that critical mind, because that's the power of reading too, that you have a conversation with the author. Read, and don't agree to. And ask them what they mean by that. And like, why does everybody, like, some of these books are fads.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
So I'm
Right, and some books will resonate with you more than somebody else, and that's fine.
And that's fine. And
I'm sending it to Catherine and Rochelle right now, so that will resonate with them the same way it resonates with me.
Hi, P. He's online, guys.
Where?
We can't see him, but he's watching us.
He needs to be commented in the chat. That's what he needs to be doing.
Thanks, Keisha. Agreed. So, guys, we also want you to interact with us on books and send us your book suggestions, because we're going to really use this time to increase our reading. I highly recommend Audible. I use Audible because it helps me to focus on a voice. And sometimes I find that even when I'm listening, my mind is going to be all over the place. So Audible has given me a discipline with listening. So even like if you're in the car, I know you're not going to be in the car for a while, but while you're at home complaining about being at home, in fact, I'm going to give
while you washing the dishes, while you cooking, that's what I do now, while you're doing stuff, not work related, because I can't listen to a book and do work, but I can do it while I'm doing other things.
Exactly.
Cleaning up my room, washing the dishes, mopping the floor, all those other things that I hate, it will take my mind away from it as well while I'm doing that.
Children. So I remember The Richest Man in Babylon. My brother used to play it in the car in the mornings. And my nephew, who is very astute with money, he quotes from the book because he wasn't paying attention necessarily, but you know that it was getting into his subconscious.
Yes.
And he started paying attention. So it's actually a good family activity, and it's useful for the children to listen and for you to have discussions with them. The other thing I would leave you with is that there's a study that was done at UA, and it talked about the families and conversation that this generation is not able to converse as well as previous generations.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they realize is that people don't sit together at a table and have dinner together. Because having dinner together as a family is actually a fantastic way to teach children how to debate and to have conversation. So while you have COVID, you have to cook anyway and wash up the plate them anyway. So you might as well set the table and have dinner together. Thanks for eating. Atomic Habits was also recommended, and the Latte Factor. I'm going to download them right away.
Mm-hmm. He said it's great for
awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what are we doing next week? I
close that document.
So next week, we are going to be having conversations about giving back during this time. And we're also going to have the fantastic Renee Rattry. She is from Teach Good, Lead Good. She's a fantastic educator and extremely engaging personality. And she's going to be talking to us about homeschooling and maintaining your sanity while homeschooling and homeworking. Yep. So join us next week. And remember, next week we're going to be talking about The Richest Man in Babylon. And please, when the books are shared by Naomi, please reach out quickly so that you can get those audibles. So we're really looking forward to.
Yes, guys. And because what we want to do is that we're not going to have this never-ending link up that you can just decide 2 weeks later that you want this book. It's going to be up for the day. You have 24 hours to submit the book that you want us to send, and then we're going to send it. Because it's going to take too much work for us to keep going back, checking who added this to that. It's too much. So we'll leave it up for 24 hours, and you get your Audible book.
And next week, NCB Capital Markets, so NCB will be back with us again next week, and we're going to be talking about tips for saving, spending, and managing money during this time.
Yeah.
Please take out those notebooks. And guys, remember that this too shall pass. This is not the rest of our lives. This is a moment. And we encourage you that during this moment, find every opportunity to tap into your best self. It's a great time to spend with the family, great time to reconnect with your spouse, to reconnect with your children, to reconnect with your parents, with your siblings, with your friends. But most importantly, it's a great time to reconnect with you. So
yes,
enjoy the time with yourself.
Yep. So thank you, everybody. Kemoy gave us
thank
some more
you, everybody.
Feel Fair too by Crystal Tomlinson and Editor-in-Chief by Mickey Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So have a great rest of the week. Be safe for the holiday weekend. Stay safe, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.